Welcome to Exploring the Ozarks, where we tell the history and stories of locations, places, and people that make up the Ozarks. Here's Matt! All that cheering just for Matt.
I like to wait for the applause, actually. David Carr, thank you so much.
We're going up and down, up and down.
Oh, man. Bringing it in and out. I love our music, and everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to Exploring the Ozarks, and thank you all for your support, really, at this point. We've put out a lot of episodes.
Yeah,
and
this is going to be number 10, I think.
Yeah, so that would be 7 we just released, and that was a really cool program with the River Alliance.
River Access Coalition.
They were amazing. So
how do you like the lights, by the way?
I do like this setup, actually.
I'm interested to see how it turns up in the camera.
I'm
after
hoping
we do the edit and all that.
Well, I hope it makes me look thinner and better looking and things like that, you know.
Yeah,
so.
Yes.
Thanks, David.
You're welcome, yes.
But hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Exploring the Ozarks. I'm Matt Graham, and we're here today at the Springfield One studio for this podcast. But check them out if you need to record your own podcast. Put on a small play. They do have a big theater room, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say big, it holds 50 people. Hey. Well, it's good size, though. It's what we need around here in Springfield. Yeah,
and I mean, even the Springfield Improv operates out of here as well.
Yep,
so
they do classes.
That's a big deal. If you want to play some music, if you want to record some music, things like that, you can come on in and they can get that taken care of for you over here with Mr. David Carr with Creative Endeavors. Thanks for allowing us to do this. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and all the podcasting sites like Spotify, iTunes Store, or on our website as well.
Yes.
At exploringtheozarks.net. So now that is out of the way, David, we've got something here that's close to your heart that we've been wanting to talk about ever since we started thinking about this whole program.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about SATO48.
SATO48.
And we've got 2 very comical guests on here with us today, all the way from Hawaii today. And we're going to introduce them here pretty quickly, but we will get a rundown of what SATO48 is, that for those that don't know. And then we're also going to talk about what these gentlemen do to help that whole situation out.
I think this is our farthest interview that we've done. I mean, Hawaii.
We're worldwide now, almost halfway anyway.
Halfway worldwide, yeah.
Hey, that's good.
Jeff&Kyaw, whenever you guys go to Europe, we'll call you there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you just let us know where you're at, okay? And since, David, these are kind of your guests, I'm going to let you take the reins on names and introductions.
Oh, goodness. So, Jeff&Kyaw, go ahead and tell us about yourselves. I mean, Jeff&Kyaw, the people that have organized SATO48, they've also done several other organizations in New York and other places. They're very much about promoting the local video scene here and giving people a place to have a real-life experience while making films. So it's a great way to... I've done it for 4 years. I've helped with organization for a couple of years, and I've always enjoyed every single year, even though it's one of those things that you love and hate because you're doing it for a 48-hour time. I had 1 year where I had COVID while I was doing it, so, you know, it was great fun. But Jeff&Kyaw, I mean, that's the whole fun of it, right?
Well, one of our filmmakers once said, SATO48 is the only event I do all year long that is challenging, and yet I still think of as fun.
Very cool.
So, Matt, this is Jaw. Your math is wrong. There are not 2 comedic people. There's 1 comedic people. And that's not me.
I'm going to assume it's you, Jaw, because the stuff you hit us with right before this was pretty damn funny. So, so let's just go with that. Jeff, what's your last name? Where are you from? And let's dive into it a little bit. Who you guys are, real quick. So, Jeff, what's your last name, by the way?
Jeff Klinkenbeard, and that's not made up, and it is destined to be spelled over the phone.
Right. That's why I didn't want to say it or spell it.
Oh, goodness.
People either love it or their eyes just glaze over. It's like, get another last name, dude.
It's the name that never ends, it feels like. It just keeps going with all the syllables.
It sounds like a dwarven name, like out of Lord of the Rings.
my full name is Charles Jeffrey Klinkenbeard, and in 1st grade, Mrs. Atterbury, who didn't like me because I wasn't a doctor's child, I didn't put my name on my paper because it was a lot of work. She made me spell my name 100 times. This is a 1st grader.
Gosh.
That was letter by letter. But here's the benefit. When I got to 2nd grade, I was the only kid who could spell their name. And what a name it was. People thought I was smart because of that. And I thought, well, that's foolish. I'm not smart because of that. I'm smart because of the punishment. But I learned the more trouble you get into, the smarter people think you are. That was my takeaway.
So the book title should have been Crime and Punishment, and then underneath in subtitles, Makes You Smarter.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
like
I agree
this.
with that.
I'm gonna get a rewrite of that one.
I like that.
Yeah.
It makes you the funny one on podcast, although he got to laugh at that. So I don't know what to do.
Well, there you go. Well, he's got his sound machine ready for you for all the jokes, but just hopefully you don't hear crickets. But Jeff, so before the show, you started off by telling us that you are originally from Springfield. Now, you've traveled all over the world, obviously, if you're in Hawaii right now, but let's talk about some of your explorations, I guess is the best way to put it, to stay on topic anyways. But so you grew up in Springfield, you've branched out. Tell us where you've been in the meantime.
Right. So I graduated from Glendale High School, and I had, when I was 15, I had gone on a school trip to New York City with a mentor, Bucky Bowman. And I immediately knew that's where I was headed, because this, Matt, this was a period of time where you had to go to one of the two coasts, right? Or Chicago, if you were pursuing anything in the area of show business or creativity.
Right.
Nowadays, people say, well, I can work from anywhere. And I add, yeah, and you're competing with everywhere. So you have to, you're never going to escape the competition aspect.
Right.
So 18, I head off to New York right after I graduate. And this is New York in 1977. This is not cushy New York of today where people are like, would you please shut up? But it was quite an adventure. And that led to adventures in San Francisco and then back to New York. And then that's when I met Jaw in the summer of 1981. And I lost every single conceivable freedom that I thought I had attained by leaving home at 18. Thank you.
Jaw, how do you feel? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Jaw, you're way funnier than you give yourself respect for.
You know what? We've run out of time.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for being on Exploring the Ozarks today.
So you lost all freedom. What does that mean? So, I mean, you guys hooked up in New York. Jaw, that means you're from New York. Is that how I'm understanding that?
Yes, as a child, I was in New York for a while, but mostly my formative years were in Burma and came back to the United States again. Yes, I met Jeff in New York City while jogging in Central Park around the reservoir.
Oh,
wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good backdrop for a new relationship that's going to last you the rest of your life. Obviously, you guys are close because you're traveling together all over the place. But so you guys were in the film industry or trying to get into the film industry. Help me understand how that worked when you guys got together.
Well, Jeff was more of the arts, that part of the arts world. I'm more of a visual art person, and I was going to school at that time, and Jeff was pursuing his career in comedy at that time.
Oh,
right,
this makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, as you can see, it didn't pan out. Here I am.
Yeah.
He done a bit. Yeah, he on the West Coast. You did quite a bit. You were on Cheers and Frasier.
I helped write.
Hold on,
Cheers and
slow down here. What'd you just say?
I helped write Cheers and Frasier.
Stop
Yep.
it.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things that he doesn't say it very often, but
If you type in Jeff Klinkenbeard, the first thing that pops up is known for Cheers on IMDb. Let me see if that's still the case. Now
So
that
you
I've said it.
well, so I hear everybody talking about IMDb's. What exactly is that? You have to be a celebrity to have one. Can I have one?
You can have one. Actually, we should actually make one for our show.
Hell yeah, we should.
Because we got a production here.
So
Yeah.
it just like shows like resumes and stuff like that kind of thing, like what you're.
I'll let Jeff and John stack because they're more into that than I am.
This is crazy. You had some.
You absolutely have to be somebody important. Let me just put it that way.
For people to notice you on there, yes.
Right.
Yeah, this is so earned. It's not even It's not even funny. So yeah, Jeff Klinkenbeard, IMDb. Jeff Klinkenbeard is known for Frasier, Cheers, and House of Buchan.
Ah, yes.
Which was, House of Buchan was John Leguizamo's sketch comedy show.
Oh,
It did not go very far, but it was shot in New York, and so that's how I ended up getting back to New York after my sojourn in Los Angeles.
And that show didn't get the credit it deserved because that was a super funny show.
You know that show. Wow.
Yeah, I do.
I'm impressed,
well,
man.
It didn't last long because I follow his stand-up a lot, and he's a super funny guy, but I think that his brain is so on a different level that it's hard for him to put his comedy into a sketch show, I guess, and come off like he's writing a joke. It's hard for some people, but he's an amazing guy.
Was that your experience, Jeff, when you were writing for him?
Yeah, it is. there's so many. First of all, comedy is so delicate, right? I can't believe comedy and drama are not symmetrical. You do not have to cry at a great drama. You must laugh at a great comedy. That is what makes it a comedy. The physical response is that. So that's a delicate thing to maintain. And if for all kinds of reasons the team isn't aligned, or there's the timing is off, and I don't mean the comic timing, I just mean the timing of the show coming into its own, then it can be a little bit of an issue. For example, now, and because John Leguizamo has had much more experience as an actor versus as a stand-up, maybe a sketch show would be more popular, just because a sketch show requires you to, work with other people.
Right.
It's more of an acting exercise than a stand-up exercise.
Right. He's a phenomenal actor, though. So, I mean, even his drama parts, he is just absolutely incredible with. So I wish that he would come back out with something. Hope you guys work on that together. But so how did you get thrown into working on Cheers and Frasier? I mean, what did you do to get involved in this? That's just interesting to me.
I was at a friend's house.
Okay.
And I had one. And his wife came home, and she said she was very unhappy. And I said, "Well, what's wrong?" And she goes, "Oh, I lost my job today." And I said, "Oh, what was your job?" And she goes, "Well, it's the apprentice writer on a TV show." And I said, "Apprentice writer? What the hell is that?" And I didn't even know that the position existed. And it's the person who contributes jokes, contributes story ideas, and is in the room from the very beginning. But on top of that, you are responsible for taking all the notes, as jokes unfold, keeping track of what the best laugh has been. And she said, "Well, I just couldn't keep up." Well, I had won a national contest for my shorthand skills.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you're like, I'm going to go take your job you just lost.
I'm going to go take your job.
Yeah,
in fact,
that's it.
This is in the day when there were 83 half hours being shot in Los Angeles.
Holy
now
smokes.
It's who knows how many, maybe 10. But the 83 half hours, I sent every one of them a query letter with my credits, both the ability to do the job, but also my comedy skills. And I got a call from Cheers, and they said, "We are hiring a third person. We've used two for the longest time. We're hiring a third because we're grooming that person to go off with the executive producers and create another show. And they want to try somebody out before they start working with them." Because again, as I said, it's a delicate thing. You're in a room for 14 hours, and you're either funny, or you're trying to be funny, or you're waiting until you can be funny.
Man, for 14 hours, though, that's hard to do.
That is crazy.
Yeah, but that also includes breakfast.
Oh, but no lunch or dinner.
Right.
You're kidding? With lunch and dinner? It's great. Cheers. We could have ordered filet mignon every night.
That's what I was thinking.
That is, fair enough.
Not a bunch of starving artists here, literally.
Right. Yeah, not at the time.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then Way led on to Way, and the show that we went off to create, which was Bob, that got canceled after a season and a half. And then Frasier was looking, and the Frasier on Paramount, we were on the Paramount lot. The Frasier offices and the Bob Newhart offices were right next to one another. So they said, they called and said, "Would you come over and have an interview?" And I said, "Sure, I'll come over and have an interview." So I walked over. It was 2 minutes. Had my interview, walked back, sat down, and just sat there and just waited maybe 4 minutes, and the phone rang, and I answered it. "What took you so long?"
Oh, man.
Very confident Jeff right there.
It's like, very funny. "You're very funny. Do you want the position?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I'll take the position." It's like, "Okay, great. Start tomorrow. Start today. Come on over."
Right. But if you wouldn't have taken that step to go ahead and submit all of your information and try to get that job, you never would have got it. And I'm sure there was a large pool of people. So your resume had to stand out. But, the more we do this show, the more we realize that really a lot of these people that come from the Midwest, and I'm sure there's other people, but it seems like a lot of people that come from this area just happen to have the gumption enough to reach out and get what they want.
Just
right?
do it. Yeah.
And that's something else that we focus on another podcast that we've got. But otherwise, I mean, to say that you went from Glendale High School to New York, and then all of a sudden you're working on some of these huge, massive shows, congratulations, number one. That's huge. But tell me how that translates into afterwards, what did you do to get to the SATO48 thought and try to put it into play?
Well, first of all, I became intolerable after working with great shows. And still is, Justice. Well,
There it is.
Well, and to your point, Matt, we knew that there were talented people in the Ozarks,
Sure.
and specifically in Springfield. We knew some of them personally. And we had, in New York, participated in a 48-hour film challenge.
There it is.
So do you want to talk this part?
All right.
Yeah, let us hear it.
Yeah, we did. And then one day we came back to Springfield visiting, and that's where we met with Bucky Bowman. I like to consider him to be the dawn of the arts. He knew everybody in the arts. He was very
The
involved in
dawn
the
of
arts.
the arts. I love that.
Very theatrical way to put it.
Yeah. Well, he was a bit theatrical person. You could never miss him. He had a very booming voice. And then he was very influential. He said, "Kids, what are you guys doing?" We told him what we had just done. He said, "Well, that sounds great. You should do one here in Springfield." We looked at each other and said, "Well, okay, if you think there's
just like that.
Yeah. And then we said, "Okay, we'll do it." We started. And with us, since we had done it before and we've been involved with nonprofit work in New York, so we set up big goals. And I think if we had something like 15 teams, will be considered to be a success.
The first year.
The first year.
Wow.
And this was back in 2006, right?
Right. Yeah.
We wrote the grant in 2005, and the Community Foundation of the Ozarks got us our start.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like he said, yeah, he can help with that, and he helped with the grant writing, getting the grant.
That's
And we
huge.
did.
I didn't
we
realize
got-
Community Foundation of the Ozarks did. I mean, you don't think about all the people that they help, but I wouldn't have thought that this would be something.
Something
that
for
they
the
would be-
arts. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Yeah. So go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the Community Foundation. Actually, they had a very complimentary comment for us. What was that?
Yeah. Now SATO48 is in its 18th year, and they still say, I believe, that we are the most successful arts organization they've ever funded, because we only had to go back to them once for a technical grant to grow. That was in the very next year. And the reason we went back is, y'all was just about to say, we thought, wow, if we can get 15 teams, we'll consider this a success. Well, the first year we had 35. And we're like, 35?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that meant we were hustling like crazy. We were screaming at each other because we had international judges that we had this was when you had to burn DVDs and send them via FedEx.
Yeah.
And
Because
here's the
you
thing.
don't just have local judges, you have international judges, like people that are in the New York and out of the country that judge these things.
Oh,
Matt was
Yeah.
looking confused by that.
I didn't know that. Well, see, that's what the logistics of SATO48. I mean,
It's impressive.
it is, because I know other people that do it, and it is it's a back-breaking thing, and it's so tumultuous for that 48 hours to try to get it done, and some really cool pieces come out of it. So let's talk about, so you got these grants, then you went back for a loan, but you've only been back once for another grant. And so you guys have been able to fund this thing the whole time with entry fees, I assume, and things like that. So are your judges paid as well?
Actually, Pat, the entry fees, we keep the entry fee deliberately low. And that is and it always has been our response to bringing as many voices to the forefront as possible. We don't care what the voices are. We don't care anything about the origin of the voice. We care about making the threshold to participate affordable and low. And this came from two college dudes who came over to the house, didn't have a credit card or a checking account. They just had cash. And we said, okay, we can take cash. And we said, hey, we want to ask you, is $25, and that's for the whole team, by the way, no matter how big your team is, that's $25 for your team. We said, is $25 affordable? And they said, dude, everybody has $25.
Oh my gosh.
Especially if you can pool the money.
Yeah.
So that's our nod to inclusiveness, and that doesn't go any further than that. We just make it cheap.
It's still $25?
Yep.
It is still $25.
Unreal.
For that, you get attendance at the kickoff, and you get the opportunity to submit your film online and then be judged along with all the other films.
And you get a
Also,
super sweet shirt too that we've got framed over here from.
Well, no, that's not part of the entry package. No.
Oh, that's not.
That's actually, we've been expanding the past couple of years, going online with some submissions and also doing some merchandising to help fund the festival and keep it going.
If Matt wants to give everyone a T-shirt, we can give out his home address now.
Yeah. Phone number and everything too. Yeah, you bet. I mean, to me, that's obviously where you're going. That's the reason you got so many people. So, I mean, what are you guys up to now as far as entries? How many entries do you get every year?
Now we get always between 80 and 100. Even during the pandemic, we had 60 and 70 entries.
Yeah, which was surprising.
Yeah, but we didn't buckle. We said, no, we're going to do it. We're going to figure out how to do it virtually and safely. And the only way, Matt, you would know that those films during the pandemic were filmed during the pandemic is it's all family. It's all the same people. Right?
All family, all at your house. That was my film one year, was all at my house.
I mean, you do what you got. You know, exactly. You can work with what you have.
Yeah, we had a lot of filmmakers say, here, watch this video. You're now the cinematographer.
Now you're an editor too, or whatnot. So.
That's right. That's right.
You still had a lot of entries during COVID. So that was one of my biggest questions, is how you guys were affected by that. So let's talk about, do these people that you're seeing these entries, these 80, 90 entries every year, these aren't just local people though, right? These are people from all over the country. Am I right?
World.
Yeah, all over the world. So we have local success stories. We have one team. They did such a good job that at one time they were being scouted by Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
And then we went on to continue to work with what those child actors, and they're doing some kind of a documentary, so he's still involved in that. And another team is able to write his own ticket. He is a camera guy. He does cinematography, and he is in a big demand. So.
Wow.
And the team that won Best Film one year, a number of years ago, they sent us an email saying the confidence that we got, that was instilled in us by winning, encouraged us to start our own production company, and they are now Height Media.
They're the ones who got the Cardinal Broadcasting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also, they did Mystery Hour for a while. And Jeff Holton, I don't know if you know Jeff Holton.
He's coming on our show next, actually.
Yep.
Here in about 20 minutes.
He's such a no talent. You better have all kinds of bells and whistles to pump up. He's got nothing. You know, he's not aged well.
Right. We'll let him know you said that too.
Oh, please do.
That's too good. So obviously you have a story there for us with Jeff, I assume. So
Jeff's participated multiple times in SATO48. He always produces some really good films.
So you guys, so you have, I mean, how many local people do you think, since this is a local show, how many local entries do you assume that you get every year?
We get about 90% are local.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the surrounding states, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and we also have entries from Florida, New York. I think we had one time from Alaska.
I mean, you'll go to the kickoff, and there'll be a couple hundred people there sitting there ready for the inspiration package to come out.
Yeah. And they do a good job of promoting that as well, because I see it all over Facebook and everything else about who's at that as well. And then another friend of mine that's done it a few times as well. That it's fun to watch because it is a big event. You guys do like a red carpet and stuff, right?
Yes, at the awards ceremony we have a red carpet experience. Just go back to the participants. We had one team from England one year. This was during COVID. They did such a good job. They won some awards.
Yeah, the 2 years in a row they won awards.
Yeah,
actually.
And they took that first award, the set of awards that they got, they went to
the number one acting school in London and said, we would like to use your students to cast from for our feature film. And they got permission to do that on the strength of their SATO48 films.
Holy smokes.
And because of the win, they were able to get a production contract as well. So they're working on their feature.
Unreal. So this is quite the springboard for people in this area. And I know David's had this on his heart for a long time of trying to boost the Springfield or Missouri or Midwest market for full feature-length films.
Yes. Yep.
And, we talk about it all the time where Georgia did this many years ago, probably 10, 15 years ago, where they came out with tax credits for that.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's so many films that you see that have the Georgia Peach logo on it.
Yep.
And that's because it is pretty. It looks just like here, but that's why they filmed Ozark in Georgia and not at Lake of the Ozarks.
Because they have the infrastructure, they have the tax credit, and they have the talent there. And that's a big thing that SATO48 does, is they help build that talent here locally, because there is a lot of local filmmakers that are extremely talented, and they could easily be competing at that top level if they had the people to support them.
Well, and actors too. I mean, I think every single school that's around here, and Nixa just came out with their ADOS center that's sponsored by Meridian Title. Shout out to them. But that's bringing in some national acts that come through. But just the theater programs alone for these kids are amazing at what they do, and they're putting on Broadway show plays.
Yeah,
and they're doing a very good job of it.
Yes.
And I know Bill Townsend, hopefully he's listening at some point, but he was the Nix's director for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And he took over and has implemented everything down at Silver Dollar City for a number of years.
Wow.
And he's exclusively their theater director now down there, and he's been doing that a long time. He retired from Nixa to go do that. So, I mean, as far as some of the kids that he's pumped out of here, I know there's some kids that came from Nixa that are acting in New York as well.
Well, that's just the thing here locally. I'm sure Jeff&Kyaw can speak to this as well, is that there's a creative brain drain, because we do have all these great things for kids, but it's hard to make a career professionally. Now, that being said, I know Jeff&Kyaw told me before, there's some animators that worked on Game of Thrones around here. There's people that do things remotely for companies, but there's nothing that provides jobs for all these super talented creative people around here, unfortunately. But that's what SATO48 addresses.
So we have also, going back to success stories, we have one actor. He just, a few weeks ago, he was in the commercial for the Super Bowl halftime.
Oh, yeah. We posted that on SATO48.
Which one was that? Which commercial was that?
It's a Doritos one, I believe. No, Bush is what Jake's saying.
Bush beer.
Yeah, what was the thing that he advertised? It has to do with a house or something, right?
That's too funny. Because I know there was a guy from Republic that was like a spokesperson kind of thing for Bush for a long time.
While David's looking that up, I have a theory that the arts, and especially theater, could be funded to the same degree that high school sports are funded.
Oh.
If you would change the name to pre-executive presentation training.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Because you know what? Once you get into the real world, it is about being able to stand up in front of adults who are just as good and just as smart as you are, and through your presentation skills, convince them to follow your vision and bring their genius to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what you do when you're in a play. You act as if you were somebody else, and you bring an audience along, and you take direction, and you learn your lines, and you know timing. It is a remarkable skill that is relegated to the backwater of funding, when really in the real world you're much more likely to be throwing out ideas than you are to be throwing out a baseball.
Right. Oh, I can speak for that myself.
Yeah, Matt was a former. Well, you were prospected by the Rockies and a couple of professional
and the White
teams
Sox
the other day. Yeah,
yeah. Back when I was in college,
very talented.
And I'll tell you what, the journey that you go on throughout that experience is when you realize that I threw out my shoulder. Really, I was a pitcher, so I ended up hurting my shoulder, but that's what happens to 95% of the kids. There's less than 1% that go through a high school and think they're going to go pro or anything like that, end up actually making it into the pro leagues of any kind.
Yeah.
And then it's a long road too, just to get on the field.
But everybody needs those skill sets, like what Jeff's talking about, of being able to be, present to people, be, entertaining, or at least be able to get your message across. So
being well-spoken, that kind of thing. I mean, I commend any of those kids that do theater, because it's almost impossible for me to even, you've seen me try to learn lines. I can do.
You're terrible at it.
I suck at it so bad, but I can do improv much faster.
Yes, you can.
Much easier, and it's much more liquid, and it's easier for me.
I'm sure everybody would agree as we're watching this. Yes, you're very good at doing this, but I will tell everybody else the other side. Yeah, the lines don't work.
I can barely make it through our intro.
It just occurred to me we should actually say what SATO48 stands for.
Yes, please.
Yes. Though I will say before you say that ad for the Super Bowl was for Car Shield. That's what that was.
Shield.
Car Shield.
Car Shield. Yeah, it was it was very much a success story for him because they've been acting teachers and actors for a long time and participated in SATO48 as both filmmakers and also sponsors of different acting awards. So we're very grateful to Elizabeth and Kelsey, and it was just a kick to see that he'd made it to a Super Bowl ad.
That is so. I mean, that's really what you guys. This is what you guys do it for, though. I assume, right?
Yeah, and the money and
all the money you spend, yeah.
We get a discount on strippers.
Oh, good.
Oh, goodness.
That helps, man. Let us know.
Like paint strippers?
Yeah, and David Carr, Mr. Prude, I mean wood strippers. People.
Yeah, yes.
That's where David was headed. Yeah.
I was heading in the right direction, Jeff.
That's so funny. You know what? David can be funny too. So you keep bouncing them off of him.
You hear that, Jeff and Jaw? I can be funny too.
Yeah, of course you're going to say that. You're sitting right there. Matt, we'll talk after the podcast.
I can just mute you.
Yeah, get my phone number.
I have the power here. I'll just mute. I have the board. You were going to say what SATO48 stands for, and I would hope, too, you should probably talk a little bit about the fact that you are now working with the Galois as a resident company.
Yes.
Which is a big deal.
John, should we do our spiel, John?
Do it.
We'll do our spiel. Hi, I'm Jeff Klinkenbeard.
And I'm Jeff&Kyaw.
Welcome to SATO48.
SATO stands for Springfield and The Ozarks 48-hour film challenge,
where teams of filmmakers have 5 minutes. Wrong. I was wrong. Well, teams of filmmakers have 2 days, which is 48 hours, in which to make a 5-minute movie. The twist is they don't know what that movie has to be about until it's introduced to them in the form of an inspiration package.
Oh.
The day of.
Gosh. So, okay. So you line up and you pay your entry fee and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I'm committed. But you have no clue what you're doing it about. So
you can collect actors. You can figure out a location.
Okay.
But, I mean, writing script and doing all that other stuff you can't do until that.
But here's the deal. You got to get everything ready.
Everything
which takes
ready.
A shit ton anyways. Pardon my language.
And on top of that, Matt, the inspiration package can also be things you cannot do.
Yep.
One year we said, no guns. No guns. Every male filmmaker came up and said, well, how else am I going to kill my girlfriend in the movie? And we said, well, you could stab her. And we're like, oh, nice.
Or
like during COVID, nothing about plagues.
I was going to say.
That was actually in the inspiration package that year, too.
Oh,
like,
really? So during COVID, you said no plagues?
Well, that's Jeff and Jar are the ones that come up with that.
I love that.
They're the only ones that know about it until the day of.
And so you guys sit there, and you two are the ones that come up with the ideas for each one of these people that are submitting this, or do you have a panel for that or something?
No, we do it.
Wow. So 80, 90 entries, you got to come up with ideas for each one of those people. And
No, it's just a general inspiration package.
Oh, I see.
So like the first year I did it, it was you had to have a certain if your team was even or odd. So I was an even team. I had to have a glass object that had to make a musical sound, and it had to, at the very end of it, you had to get something or lose something.
Okay.
And that's a very that's a general idea of an inspiration package. But I know Jeff and Joe have a very secret formula that they use every year.
Tell us your secret.
Well, the secret
Shut up, Joe. he's the easy one. But
the idea of the inspiration packet is to make sure that the filmmakers are making this film in 48 hours.
Yeah,
right.
And after over 1,200 films, there's been over 1,200 shorts made over the years. We've only had one film that we had to disqualify because it didn't have anything to do with the inspiration package. And the guy said, well, my dad had just died a couple days before and I wanted to do a tribute to him. And I said, that's lovely for his funeral, but not for the Moxie.
Well,
I should say they are, they do judge all that stuff, but they are, it's an artistic endeavor.
Well,
so
it seems like you can incorporate that if you wanted to,
Well, last year was, yes, you could have.
You know what I mean? If you're decent at what you do, do you guys happen to know a guy by the name of Jason Tucker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jason's one of my sister's best friends is his wife, and he is ate up with this SATO48 every single time. He's like, I'm not doing it again. I'm never doing it again. And then he's like, I'm ready to go.
I honestly feel like it's a drug at this point because I keep thinking the same thing. Like I'm helping, with organizing this. I got all my businesses. I shouldn't be doing it this year. And then it comes up to I'm like, but I want to do this with my daughter, and I want to do it with my family, and it's a good do with I have an idea, and I want to be in a video form. And it's like,
I got a dream. This idea, Matt, we're going to explore at the Alamo
Oh,
on Thursday,
okay.
April 13th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thursday, April 13th. Check that it's Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday, April 13th. We're going to show films in pairs. So what will happen is we'll come out and we will say, so this is from 2022. This is the inspiration package that was presented in 2022. And we'll kind of say to the audience, think about what kind of film you might make or want to see. Now we're going to watch two films who took very different approaches to this same inspiration package. We'll show those films back to back, then have a Q&A with those filmmakers to compare and contrast their approaches, questions from the audience and questions from the host, and of course the filmmakers presenting their process. Then we'll go to a previous year and say, now this year's the inspiration package was this, and here are two horror films that took very different approaches. And so we'll march through pairs of films that way, taking time to compare and contrast along the way, and then at the end, time permitting, we'll bring all the filmmakers down and do a general Q&A of the type you're used to. Very good.
And then you guys said you're doing something at the Galois as well?
Yes. Well, the awards ceremony is always at the Galois.
Okay.
And
that's open to the public?
If you pay for it, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, in fact, for those who want to get dressed up and go out and be around young at heart people who are enthusiastic about their, chance to win, which is often quite high because the films are really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great night out, and then there's an after party. And as David said, we're now a resident company of the Gilroys, so we're very, very excited about that.
We love the Gilroys.
That future, and working with Jeff Steele and Joy Steele.
Yeah.
Turn that theater around.
Oh, man.
Goodness.
Jeff and Joy have been such a blessing for the Galois altogether.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
we're actually setting up to do an interview with them, actually.
Yeah,
we've
got them, and they were on our radio show a while back, too. But, you guys are doing some amazing stuff for not just our community, but you guys are branching out. But that's why we love this show, Exploring the Ozarks, because you guys are truly exploring the Ozarks. And I don't know how many people are going out to these locations and exploring what they're doing every time they shoot a video.
I had actually, my first year I shot on a random farm out past Willard
that's what I
had taken photos for, and I was like, I should shoot a film here.
Right.
And you see it all the time with all the films.
Everybody during COVID got outside, started doing their thing where they're hiking and exploring, and they're like, and I'm sure they all got locations out of that. Right. So, but what you guys are doing for just our community alone, from wherever you are, New York, Hawaii, San Francisco, wherever, we really appreciate what you're doing for our community here in the Ozarks, guys. So that's, first of all, I'd love to say that, and thank you guys so much for what you do. We are running out of time. We know you've got somebody out there that's waiting for you to show up with the pineapple.
It's just our 89-year-old mother. She may not have been made. I'll pick up my messages. She may be gone already.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, she's got a lot to look at in Hawaii, so I wouldn't sit around very long waiting on anybody either. Yeah. But you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on Exploring the Ozarks, and we'd love to have you back on. You said April 13th. You're going to be at the Alamo. When is SATO48? When is the
kickoff
sign up, let's say?
Yes. Registration opens early March.
Early March.
So the next couple weeks it'll open.
The next few weeks, okay. Yeah. And then when is the
filming will be on Friday, April 21.
The kickoff.
That weekend. So there's a kickoff on Friday night. And then shortly after that, there are screenings at the Moxie of all the films. And during this process is when they're judged locally and internationally. And then there's a big award ceremony at the Gilroys on June 3rd. Saturday, June 3rd. So that's a great Saturday night out. And the people get awards, they get cash prizes, they give acceptance speeches, and we show the winning film. So it's a great night of best of.
Man, you guys are killing it with this.
And we're working on. I'm not going to go into a lot of details because we're still ironing some thoughts out, but we're working on getting some more parties going, some panels and other things to help filmmakers improve themselves.
Well, and I think that's important.
It's an all-encompassing experience for anybody that participates.
Well, and that's the biggest part to me is that you guys you're not just saying go out and make these films. You're dissecting it. You're boosting them up a little bit.
Get them connections.
You got somebody that has been participating in this that's now in a Super Bowl commercial. So I think that's inspiration in itself for you guys to just keep plugging away and make this bigger. So, since that's not too far away, we we obviously need to be a part of this as well. So let us know what we can do for you guys. If you guys want to come back on the show, we'd love to come back on the show. And maybe if you guys are going to be in town or something, we'd love to have you in the studio, and maybe even do some one-offs where we can actually have some videos play.
They come back from Hawaii when it's warm outside.
You bastards.
Yeah.
It's tough, isn't
I
it?
hope you take this in the right spirit. There's going to be a panel on how to conduct a podcast. I think your whole team should attend it.
Okay.
All right.
Can do.
Okay.
We'll do our best.
That went over like a lead balloon.
I couldn't tell if you were being facetious or not, Jeff. Sometimes it's hard, especially on the phone.
Of course, I'm going to say that at the end of the podcast. Press the erase button.
Well,
anyway,
anything we can do to help inspire anybody too, we'd love to. We do fly by the seat of our pants, but what you don't see in this room right now are all the cameras and all the equipment that
lights,
goes into this.
audio.
Unless you are going to get a pretty sizable loan from somebody for this stuff, it's pretty expensive. But
it's the expertise of knowing how to use it too.
Well,
so we would be happy to be on that panel.
Is
Jeff.
there a toot your own horn button on that thing somewhere where you can toot your own horn?
So David,
It's crickets.
you know what Max said, so make sure.
No, there is.
That is tooting your own horn.
It's just kind of short. Anyway, we do have to wrap up. So
Okay.
Very good, though, guys. Thank you so much again, Jeff and Jaw. Thank you so much for coming on. And wait a second. Hold on a second here. Before we leave.
I'm holding.
There was a quote that you wanted to give us, Jeff, from T.S. Eliot.
Yes.
That I think we need to make our own motto for this show.
Yeah.
Because this is exactly...
And it should be our last thing said on this podcast before the
It will.
outro.
So we're going to go ahead and say bye. Thank you, everybody, for watching that's on all of these cameras that are in here. And thank you guys for coming on the show. And we do want to support you moving forward. So let us know when you're close by and we'll have you on the show. David, thanks for arranging this. SATO48, guys, check it out. It's one of the biggest events in Springfield. So check it out. You'll love it. Everybody that's part of it loves it. So we want to support you guys. So go ahead and hit us with that T.S. Eliot quote on the way out.
Sure. And this is in the spirit of returning home and discovering greatness. T.S. Eliot wrote, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time."
Amen to that. Keep exploring the Ozarks, guys. Thanks again for listening to Exploring the Ozarks. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our social media channels to help us keep exploring the stories of the Ozarks. If you're looking for more ways to support our show, we have sponsorships for businesses and Patreon for individual supporters. Check the links in the description for more details. Thanks for your support, and keep exploring the Ozarks.